For you to have a successful vegetable farm, you need to put in several factors that you need to put into consideration, from the land preparation to nutrition to the seed variety that you choose and all that. But all that said, one key component factor that you need to have is water. Especially currently now, previously, used to depend on rain-fed agriculture, but currently that is no longer sustainable. And that's why before you start any vegetable, farm, good to know whether you have at least to have an irrigation source, water for irrigation, a source of water for irrigation. Well, at the time of this recording, we are in the month of January, which traditionally has been, a dry month, whereby we receive minimal to no rains at all, and we are fully dependent on irrigation. Yeah, already we have as much as we've already set up a drip irrigation system, whereby now ensure that our crops we can grow these crops all year through. But however, this time round, we've been receiving quite some substantial amount of rainfall, and this has resulted. You can see there's something about the rains. And as much as you grow these crops under irrigation, once they receive that shower, there's something about the crops become really quite vibrant, and especially for now these leafy greens, for example, like these are collard greens, and what you harvest are the leaves. So the faster they grow, the larger they grow, of course. That means the better for us, more harvest, which of course will result to more returns as well, more profits. Yeah, but on the flip side, just next to the collard greens that are doing really well thanks to the rainfall, on this other side we have some Swiss chard. Here we commonly referred to as spinach. Is a Swiss chard. This is a crop that really goes hand in hand with the collard greens out there in the market. If you want to push, with the research that I've done, the market out there, once you have these collard greens, they really go hand in hand with the Swiss chard. If you go with this together, they really push each other, and they're able to make better sales when you have both of these products at the same time instead of having them separately. So at any given time, I always have collard greens and Swiss chard on my farm. Another advantage being that, these are crops that you can harvest frequently, and they're able to generate some income to run the farm, as opposed to some crops that you have to grow and maybe wait for about 3 to 4 months to harvest. So as I do mixed farming, I always ensure that all year through there are such crops as the collard greens and the Swiss chard that help generate that frequent income to be able to run the farm. Now back to the rains. You can see this Swiss chard here that I recently harvested. You can see that it has clearly been heavily affected by the heavy rains that we've been receiving. I had just recently harvested this Swiss chard, this patch of Swiss chard, and there was a lot of weeds. So immediately after the harvest, I did some weeding. But during that period also as well, we received quite some heavy amounts of rainfall. Even from closely, there's a lot of dirt splash, as a result of the heavy rains that we received. And with that, I noticed there's a very rapid spread of fungal diseases, infections on the crop that are rapidly spreading on the crop. In fact, actually, some of the crop, and this is not kept unchecked, and result to losing the entire crop. So what I want to do now is I want to trim off all those affected leaves completely, strip off all those affected leaves, because I notice the new leaves that are coming, the new shoots that are coming up, they seem healthy. So what I'm going to do is strip off all the affected leaves and throw them away. Then now ensure that probably look for apply a fungicide this time, because the disease has already kicked in. Probably look for both a curative and a preventive fungicide. Yeah, to be able now to suppress these fungal infections and keep them at bay altogether. So, but the first step is to clean up all the affected leaves and then now see how it goes. And hopefully the crop will be able to recover from this. And in a short while, maybe in about a week or so, I'll be back to harvesting this patch of Swiss chard. So the idea here is to completely get rid of all these affected leaves. Yeah. And interesting part is, you see, this Swiss chard now, when this happens, this is at this time now around when we have this heavy rainfall. Surprisingly enough, this is when now these Swiss chard fetch the best prices out there in the market. You know, one reason being, of course, being that as you can see here, what has happened is that the crops have been heavily affected by these fungal infections. Because now that means that it's not only happening to me, it's happening to several other farmers. And with that reason, there is a huge shortage of this Swiss chard. So there's a low supply of this product, of the Swiss chard out there in the market, and therefore we have the prices are high. So in as much as this crop has been affected, all the efforts, the pruning of whatever measures we are going to be taking to try and get this disease out, the crop that the subsequent harvest, they are definitely going to be fetching premium prices for that, and it will be able to recover the costs and might even make more margins out of that. So the idea is to have that resilience. When everyone else is getting out of the market, getting out due to the challenges that you're facing, you get in there head on. Yeah, because at least this time around we've been successfully been able to grow this crop. Because now, as I think, at the time of this recording in January, and normally here our rainy season is from October all the way to December. So for the 3 months during that rainy season, we've had this crop and it has been able to survive all that period. Yeah, following all the good management practices, from the feeding, disease prevention, and all that. I've done several videos. Probably you can check and go back and check all, how I've been able to manage this Swiss chard, especially during this the rainy season. And once you're able to have this product when it's in low supply, you'll definitely be getting good prices. So let me proceed and prune off all these affected leaves and only leave the new leaves they seem to be fine. Just let's get rid of all this and then see how it goes. Well, I'm done with the stripping of all the affected leaves in this Swiss chard. So now what I want to do immediately, and as much as I'll be doing a fungicide later, probably a curative and a preventive fungicide, what I want to do right away is spray this Swiss chard with the seaweed. Seaweed, in as much as it's a fertilizer, it has all those NPK components. It also acts as a multivitamin and an immune booster to the crop. Seeing that the crop has been heavily affected by the infection, by the fungal diseases, and then it helps the crop cope with the stresses. Also, like here now, we have those, see, for example, like the issue of temperature. Yeah, it's getting really hot during the day, the hot sun. Then we're receiving those heavy rains at night. At times, even the rains come during the day, midday. Just get a burst of, about a session of about 20 minutes of heavy rainfall. And within no time, the sun is back up. See all those fluctuations and all that. It stresses out the crop. But a routine spray of a seed fertilizer really helps the crop be able to cope with the stress associated with all that, the disease and the and the other elements that may cause the crop to be stressed out. it may be compromised on the production, of the crop. So by doing this, spraying this chard with this seaweed, it's really, this crop is going to really benefit from this. Some of the benefits that you're going to get in it, the seed helps improve the leaf quality, the greenness of the crop, and this being leafy greens, and this is the leaves are what you're selling out. You need to have good quality for that the Swiss chard. So, because now you're growing this Swiss chard for the foliage, yeah. Because now by spraying the seaweed, it contains some high levels of magnesium and iron, which are which are really essential in the production of chlorophyll, which provides that greenness of the crop. So with that, you're going to have that deeper green leaves, yeah, due to more efficient photosynthesis. So the crop will grow faster and it will be darker green. Of course, now when you get out there in the market, your product will stand out. The other benefit of the seaweed is that it's a hormonal and growth. It has growth hormone boost. It's a biostimulant of some sort, because now it has those rich plant hormones like the cytokinins, the auxins. So like the cytokinins, they help to trigger cell division, and this keeps your chard leaves tender and productive, allowing you to harvest them for longer. The auxins, on the other hand, will help promote your roots to be strong enough, develop strong roots that will help the plant to anchor properly. And that with good roots, of course, that's because now the crop feeds from both the leaves, mainly from the roots as well as the foliage. But now if it has good root development, you're going to be able to find the water deeper and all the nutrients that are in the soil, and that you end up with a healthy crop. And of course, the other one that I said, it helps the crop, be able to, with the stress management, be more resilient to stress. Well, it's all done. Done with that nice spray of seaweed. Now what I'll be doing later on, probably in the evening, with the fungicide, which if need be, depending on the progress, I may need to repeat it probably after 7 days or so. For now, just wait and see. Keep it this channel, and you'll be able to see a progress of this crop in about 2 weeks time, whether it will have recovered from the disease, or is it time now to retire this crop and start afresh. So wait and see. I'll be doing a subsequent video, a follow-up video in about 2 weeks time also, to see how far this crop has how the progress of this crop, whether it's managed to recover or not, and we'll see how it goes. So thank you so much for watching. Till the next one, happy farming.